All right, first and foremost, give our praise to you. How about Shimmy Abashai Brakatham? Give us a cell greeting to the brothers and sisters scattered across the four corners, teaching this word with sincerity and charity. Brother Phineas, Prince of Power Israelites, coming with a short one about the parable of the fig tree, of the barren fig tree. All right, let's start going over these parables. Start doing some more lessons. We're gonna get back to the one with Hebrew Israelism. We're going to get back to rebuking that doctrine, man. Just correcting that doctrine because, these apologists are getting bolder and bolder. And if you're not out there checking, they're getting bolder and they running up on camp, so forth. And brothers is running away. brothers is running away like Christians from Jehovah's Witnesses. So we have to get back to that and start dealing with that. But also... let's just, we have to teach the text also. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're just going to briefly go over this parable of the barren the barren fig tree. And we're going to start with, we're just going to read Luke 13:1. Very, very, very important that we get, why he's saying the reasoning behind him bringing out these parables. A lot of times it's something you said, it's some incident that's happening that springs these parables, and these things are kind of coming out on the fly. Luke 13:1, it says, there were present at that season some that told him of the Galileans, whose blood Pilate had mingled with their sacrifices. And Yahushua answering said unto them, suppose ye that these Galileans were sinners above all the Galileans because they suffer such things? Are you saying that these folks are the most wicked of Galileans because they suffer this because Pilate mingled their sacrifices with blood? I tell you, nay, but except ye repent. He says, no, except you repent, ye shall all likewise perish. Verse 4 says, of those 18 upon whom the tower in Shiloh fell and slew them, think ye that they were sinners above all men that dwelt in Jerusalem? Me and brother was talking earlier about this, man. A lot of times something happens bad to someone in Israel or someone who, quote unquote, left the truth, if that's possible, left the truth, and something bad happens to him. Brothers be like, that brother was wicked. That was judgment. I pray to the Most High that I never leave the truth. But we put that on, man. This brother was extremely wicked. All right, we put that on. He's extremely wicked, and this why it happened to him. So we have an incident where, these 18 people died with this tower falling, and people supposing that they were wicked for this incident actually happening. Verse 5, he says, I tell you, nay, but except ye repent, ye shall all likewise perish. All right, unless you repent, you shall all likewise perish. So these people weren't the wicked of the wicked, and this happened to them, man. Listen, you all need to repent unless you die. Okay, this is to this audience. Verse 6, he spake also this parable. Okay, so he's adding to this parable. He added to what he was just dealing with to this parable. Okay, don't think that you're safe. He's pretty much giving these folks a lesson on don't think that you're safe. Or don't think that you're better than these folks. Try to show, have some humility, man. We're all in danger of hellfire, man. Them weren't the wicked that they happened, that, the most wicked of the Galileans. And these weren't the most wicked of those who was in Shiloh, where that tower fell on them on Shiloh. Verse 6, and he spake also this parable. A certain man had a fig tree planted in his vineyard, and he came and sought fruit thereon, and found none. Then said unto the dresser of his vineyard, behold, these 3 years I come seeking fruit on this fig tree, and find none. Cut it down, why cumbereth it the ground? And he answered and said unto him, Lord, let it alone this year also, till I shall dig about it and dung it. And if it bear fruit, well, and if not, then after that thou shalt cut it down. And he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath. And behold, there was a woman. Okay, Shalaki, that's all we wanted. All right, I shall cut it down. So, first thing we got to take from that, and again, I say all the time, if when you're reading these parables, it's good for you to understand agriculture. All right, to get a better understanding of these parables, to get all the meat off of this thing. Okay, understand the context, why he's saying it, and then have a little context, have a little knowledge about agriculture, about planting, so these things won't go over your head. He went to the tree and seen no fruit. Okay, he was expecting fruit. He's been there 3 years expecting fruit on this tree. This tree looks like it's supposed to be bearing fruit. It looks like it's supposed to be bearing fruit. The leaves are plush. The leaves are big and humongous. But he goes to the tree and he's seeing no fruit. He gets frustrated and says, you know what? Cut this thing down. Why does it cumbereth the ground? Another note to take from this is he says the vineyard dresser says, well, let me dung it. It's not bearing no fruit. Let me dung it. All right. Let me put some manure on it. Let me put some, it's another politically correct term, some feces on it. And sometimes we'll have to go through that in our walk. Sometimes we're going to have to go through some things, some feces, some manure, okay, for lack of words. We got to go through something, okay? And that's what's going to help us grow. That's what's going to produce the right vitamins and the right nutrients for the spirit to grow, okay? It takes a little affliction. It takes some thorns to get humbled, for you to cry out to the Lord, for you to believe that you need the Lord, to believe that you're covered with the blood, for you to understand you can't do it on your own. Sometimes you have to go through some feces. And so, you know, they agreed upon, hey man, you know, let me dung it, and then if ain't that growing on it next year, you know, we'll cut it down. Okay. Now let's look at Mark 11, but still keep in mind, he went to the tree. It looked like it's supposed to have fruit on it, but it was not bearing fruit. Okay, there are problems when you're not bearing fruit, but you look like you're supposed to. There's a lot of us in Israel that look like we supposed to be bearing fruit, and that people are coming to, and you don't want you don't want Christ, you don't want Yahweh returning, and you're not bearing fruit. And he comes up to you, being the fig tree with all the foliage, with the big leaves showing, with the big fringes. You got the whole lamb for Passover, man. You got the whole lamb. You ain't cutting nothing off. You got the best feast days. You got the best venues, but you ain't bearing no fruits. You're not bearing the fruits of the Spirit. You have bitterness inside of you. But let's continue on. Let's Mark chapter 11, and I want to say 11 and 12. Yeah, let's start at verse 12. And on the morrow, when they were come from Bethany, he was hungry, and seeing a fig tree afar off having leaves, he came, if haply he might find anything thereon. And when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for the time of the figs were not yet. And Yahweh answered and said unto him, no man eat fruit of these hereafter forever. And his disciples heard it. All right. So, you know, Yahweh comes to this tree again. We see another fig tree that has leaves, but it wasn't time for the fruit. All right, he went there a little early. He was expecting the tree to have some sort of fruit on it. And this, again, you know about the production of figs, the agriculture dealing with figs. There were 2 seasons for figs. There was a spring season where, early spring, you'll see smaller figs on there, and then summer you'll see the bigger figs. That's why you see in Matthew chapter 24 where it goes into when the leaves start to show on the fig tree, you know that summer is now. So it may be it's 2 seasons. It may be close to winter season. I had to look that up. I may plug it into the thing. It may be summer and they start, and then maybe late, early late fall or something like that, when you have those bigger ones that come out of there. But I'll put it in there and get it corrected. So yeah, again, he went there, he seen the foliage, and he didn't see the fruit. Now, if you go into why this happens with plants. You go into why this happens with plants. A lot of times this deals with the plant having too much nitrogen. There's too much nitrogen in the soil. And what happens, the nitrogen kind of produces this chlorophyll. Layman terms, the plant spends too much energy trying to look good. And so since it's spending all of this energy on the leaves, the roots aren't getting it's not the energy. You don't have enough energy left to spread the roots enough. And so it'll spring up and look all beautiful and nice, but it won't have the strength to get the important things, the heavier matters. Like getting that root system spread out and getting those nutrients from that ground soil and water from that ground soil to feed itself the right nutrients that it can start producing fruits. And that's how we are sometimes in this faith. That's how you see brothers and sisters who've been in the faith 20 years, 30 years, and look good. They look good, man. They got the best garments. They got the best. How about you? They know everybody, but they're not bearing no fruit. They're not bearing no fruit. They're not growing, but they look good. And a lot of people spring to these people. They run to them. Shalom, brother. Let me buy this brother some gifts. Brother, I appreciate all that you've done. And they give reverence to these people, but they're not bearing any fruit. Then these people end up, causing these brothers and sisters an offense. And, you could have been saved by that if you judged the tree by its fruit and not by the size of the tree or by its foliage. It has to be bearing fruit. Let's go to John chapter 15 in verse. And people are leaves. People be getting into these camps and be like, oh man, they ain't got 10,000 people. That's just foliage. Are they growing? Are they bearing fruit? Let me give you another example, man. We got a pomegranate tree in the backyard. My uncle took one branch off the tree. True story, y'all. He took one branch off of this tree. Okay, we have a tree in our backyard. We can never eat a pomegranate off there. The bugs eat them. The bugs eat them. The squirrels, the ants, and then they don't get too big. Some of them get a little bigger, but they spoiling and rotting. We can never eat them. Okay. My uncle takes one to Albany, puts it in he just take a branch and he puts the branch he just plants the branch into the ground. And he has this giant pomegranate. We go over there a few months later. He got this giant pomegranate on this one branch. This humongous pomegranate on this one branch. He plucks it off. He opened it, and we're sharing, that one pomegranate. It only grew one, but it was just one single branch. I'm talking about the branch was probably like this big, y'all. It was like this big. And it was just one pomegranate hanging off of this thing because it was in good soil, because it was getting the right nutrients. It was being fed, and it wasn't worried about what it looked like. And it bared the greatest fruit. We was able to eat from that fruit. There was fruit on that branch. Let's look at John 15. 15 and 6. 15 and 6, and then we'll close out, y'all. It's a plethora of precepts on this thing. Y'all throw them in the comments. John 15 and 6. It's because we all can help each other. I'm teachable. That's how I can keep growing. All right, I don't sit up here and tell you, I got 100% of the truth and I know everything. I'm learning this thing. I'm growing day by day, and I'm unlearning some things. All right, John 15 and matter of fact, we start at verse 1. It says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. And that purgeth it means like a tomato plants. To purge tomato plants, you have to remove the suckers. It's a terminology called removing the suckers. All right, because these suckers are kind of just draining the energy from the vines, draining the energy from the branches where it's not producing much food. So you can cut that sucker off, and that all that energy can go to that fruit or go to that tomato, and then it can get stronger. It can grow bigger. But you have to do the purging. So everyone that's bearing fruit, understand that just if you're bearing fruit, you might have a sucker attached to you. You might have a few suckers attached to you, and that you need to get those suckers purged. Say the Most High will purge them suckers away from you so that you can grow more. So don't be afraid of isolation, because it can make you stronger. It can make you it can make you bear more fruit, because that's what we're here to do. All right. Every vine that's in the Lord, every branch that's in me, says Yahushua, he's supposed to be bearing. He's supposed to be bearing fruit, and if he's bearing fruit, he purges it that it may bring forth more fruit. Verse 3. Now ye are clean though. Shalakia. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself except it abide in the vine, no more can ye except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me ye can do nothing. Okay, and we have to understand that's another humbling point. Without Christ, without Yahushua, we can do nothing. So we shouldn't be pumped up. We shouldn't be prideful. You should be operating in humility. Operating in humility and giving all glory and honor to the Father and his Son. Verse 6, if a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done for you. Herein is my Father's glory. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit, so shall ye be my disciples. So this is how you glorify the Father, by bearing much fruit, not bearing the leaves, not looking good. Okay, not looking good on the videos. That's why y'all can't take y'all hat off. That's why y'all can't take y'all head off to glorify the Father, because you don't have no fruit, because you're trying to look good. You're growing the foliage. You're worried about the views. Instead of you worrying about, are you really bearing fruit? Do you have the fruits of the Spirit? Are these people looking at us and seeing, hey, I can tell that these folks are bearing the fruits of the Spirit. You got folks calling us devils. You know, we supposed to be the light unto the world. We got folks calling us devils. And they call Yahweh Shai devil also. So, so it is what it is. But, ultimately this thing just comes into hypocrisy. It deals with hypocrisy, and it deals with, us, trying to look the part, but not bearing the fruit, man. You know what I'm saying? We just out here, we just out here pretending. And these messages was going definitely to the Pharisees and the Sadducees and all of those sects that, did those things outwardly, but inside, there was a sepulchre, man. There was a grave full of bones, man. Dead. And a lot of us in Israel are the same. I hope this thing was edifying to the body. Y'all be blessed.